Welcome to College Football Week 12 predictions. We are getting closer to December, in which we'll finally find out which teams is going to their conference championship games and an opportunity for them to go to the playoffs. Starting off with Friday, tomorrow, between Clemson and 20th ranked Louisville at 7:30 p.m. Eastern on ESPN. Louisville is a 3.5 point favorite after coming off a loss to Cal, and they had a chance to sneak in with Georgia Tech for that ACC title game, but unfortunately losing tough one at home against Cal. They take on Clemson, who back in the win track. Of course, Kate Klubnik came back. I haven't talked about Clemson since their downfall so far, but now 4-5. They're just looking to win their fifth game this season. I got Clemson upsetting. I think Clemson is going to try to play it really competitive, so give me Clemson by 4. Minnesota taking on the 8th ranked Oregon Ducks at 9 p.m. Eastern on Fox. Oregon is a 21.5 point favorite. It's a bit too high, of course, after a huge win against Iowa on the road. While for Minnesota, they're coming off the bye, and of course, they already clinched bowl eligible, so all that matters is could they sneak in that conference championship game? They are 4-2. They are 4-2 in conference record, and Oregon is 5-1. So this is a real good test for Minnesota going on the road against Oregon. I'll say this is going to be competitive, so give me Oregon by 10. Then we go to Saturday. It is South Carolina taking on the third-ranked Texas A&M at 12 p.m. Eastern on ESPN. Texas A&M is a 17.5 point favorite. They're still undefeated in conference, of course. This win, and then next week they got Sanford. After that, they got their Texas A&M rivalry game. So their last home conference game before going on the road to Texas in their conference game. So A&M's window is still open. They have a shot to go to the conference championship game, but against South Carolina, a team that's having high expectations to now where people were a little low expectations right now, 3-6, but they got to clinch bowl eligible this week, this month. If they don't, their season's over and their head coach could be on the hot seat. And plus, Lenore Sellers may go to the draft next year. So give me Texas A&M. Their defense is well too good. They'll be really tested. A&M wins by 10. Then what should be an interesting game, the number 9th team in the country, Notre Dame, taking on the number 22 team in the country, the Pitt Panthers, at 12 p.m. Eastern on ABC. Notre Dame is an 11.5 point favorite. This is way too much to give Notre Dame that much points. After, of course, they're 7-2. They beat Navy. And now they're going to Pitt and take on the Pittsburgh Panthers, who have a shot still in a conference championship game, no matter what happens with Duke and Virginia, which we'll get to that game later on. Here, I think it's going to be a little score, not just an 11.5 point favorites, but I got Notre Dame winning it. I'll say Notre Dame will win by 6. 18th ranked Michigan taking on Northwestern at 12 p.m. Eastern on Fox. Michigan is a 10.5 point favorite, and the Wolverines, listen, they have a chance to win all of their favorable games until they get to Ohio State. And maybe there is still a chance for them to go to the conference championship game. But taking on Northwestern, who had an interesting turnaround this season. Of course, they went, I think, 4-7 last season. Now they're 5-4. They're a game away, one win away to clinch bowl eligible for this season. And being played at Wrangling Field, home of the Chicago Cubs. They've done this before last season. Ohio State dominated them. So give me Michigan. They'll dominate by the running game. They'll win by 17. 24th ranked South Florida taking on Navy at 12 p.m. Eastern on ESPN2. South Florida is a 9.5 point favorite. This is a huge game in the American Athletic Conference because South Florida has been ranked according to the College Football Committee, so well deserved for them. And they're one of the group of five champions, projected champions in the playoff bracket. Now they got to hold on to it. But against Navy, who are coming off a tough loss on the road against Notre Dame. So this could be a trap game. However, I like South Florida's offense. I like what their head coach is doing. Give me the Bulls by 4. Arizona taking on 25th ranked Cincinnati at 12 p.m. Eastern on FS1. Cincinnati is a 5.5-point favorites. And why I'm talking about this game? Well, Cincinnati still is alive for a conference championship game, no matter what happens to the stipulation with BYU and then Iowa State and the others. But going against Arizona, who clinched bowl eligible last week. Congratulations, Arizona. Welcome back. But this game's going to be a little tight. Give me Cincinnati by 2. Number 11, Oklahoma, taking on number 4, Alabama at 3:30 p.m. Eastern on ABC. Bama is a 7.5-point favorite. A rematch of last season's big game where Oklahoma's defense dominated Jalen Milroe and that offense and eliminated Alabama from playoff contention. This year is a little different. Oklahoma is number 11 ranked this season, of course. And, of course, they're going up against the 4th-ranked team in the country who are undefeated in conference play. But, of course, their only loss was Florida State. And they're still number 4 in the country. But Bama should be good. Of course, they got this game. And if they win that game, they should be good for 2 weeks against Auburn and maybe clinch a spot to the SEC title game. So this game for me is going to come down to can Oklahoma's defense slow down Alabama's offense. And if they do, I think this could be an upset here, upset alert game. But I think Bama prevails. They'll win by 4. UCF taking on the 6th-ranked Texas Tech at 3:30 p.m. Eastern on Fox. Texas Tech is a 23.5-point favorite. I will say this is too much, but I'll give Texas Tech the win by 17. Here's the reason. They're coming off a huge win at home against BYU, which is a big statement to let everyone know they're going to be a title contenders this year. But going up against UCF, who had some good moments under Scott Frost, and they are looking to pull some upsets. You never know what happens in college football. So I'm going to give Texas Tech, again, Texas Tech wins it by 17. NC State taking on the 15th-ranked Miami Hurricanes at 3:30 p.m. Eastern on ESPN. Miami's a 14.5-point favorite, and according to the College Football Committee, they got them the highest-ranked conference ACC team, which is Miami. Who listen, they don't need to win the conference. They just got to be way better than the other ACC teams. But I was shocked. I thought they could have give Georgia Tech over Miami, but Miami's the highest ranked conference in the playoffs. Going up against NC State, who could be playing just for bowl eligible, but maybe to spoil Miami's season. I think it's going to be a great game, but I think Miami wins by 4. 16th ranked Georgia Tech taking on Boston College. Oh, God. 3:30 p.m. Eastern on ACC Network. Georgia Tech is a 16.5-point favorite. Georgia Tech undefeated in conference. Meanwhile, for Boston College, it's ugly for you guys. 0-9 in the conference. Or mistakenly, Georgia Tech lost to, I think they lost to conference game, so I do want to apologize for that. But anyways, Georgia Tech needs this more. They're trying to be in that group of highest ranked conference teams, so give me Georgia Tech by 20. Then a fun game, by the way. 21st ranked Iowa taking on 17th ranked USC. 3:30 p.m. Eastern on Big Ten Network. USC is a 6.5-point favorite. This is a huge game for the Trojans because Next week is against Oregon, and that's a huge home game for them if they're going to be ready. But against Iowa, who are coming off a heartbreaking loss to to Oregon, they'll look to respond back. I think this is a trap game for USC. I think it's a trap game. So give me Iowa going on the road, upsets USC. They win by 3. Then what could be a potential elimination game for a chance to go to the ACC title game is 19th ranked Virginia taking on Duke at 3:30 p.m. Eastern on ESPN2. Duke is a 6.5 point favorite, and Virginia heartbreaking loss at home against Wake Forest. They'll look to respond back against Duke, who Duke are still in play for a conference championship game this season. You know what? Let's put the upset alert in this one. I got Duke upset. Oh, Duke was favored, but give me Duke winning it by 4. UNC taking on Wake Forest at 4:30 p.m. Eastern on the CW network. Wake Forest is a 6.5 point favorite, and for Wake Forest, bowl eligible. Congratulations, and a big road win against Virginia. Now going to you take on the Tar Heels, who had their first back-to-back wins under Bill Belichick, and again, just 2 wins, and they're bowl eligible under Bill Belichick. And then your future Bill Belichick, I don't know. You could go back to the NFL or you got to stay in college. I don't know. It's up to you. I'm going to go the upset alert again. I'm going the Tar Heels winning it by 4. Florida taking on 7th ranked Ole Miss at 7 p.m. Eastern on ESPN. Ole Miss is a 13.5 point favorite. It is Lane Kiffin going up against the team that may hire Lane Kiffin next season. Nothing to say for Florida. They just need 3 wins to clinch bowl eligible. But for Ole Miss, they're trying to play for a spot at the SEC title game. So give me Florida by 5. To the game of the week, number 10 Texas going up against number 5 Georgia at 7:30 p.m. Eastern on ABC. Georgia is a 6.5 point favorite. This is a rematch of last season's game, regular season game, and conference championship game where Georgia won, all thanks to their defense, dominated Quinn Ewers and that Texas offense. Well, this is going to be a little different because they're going to go up against Arch Manning and Texas, who are on a hot streak since, of course, their loss to Florida. And listen, this game is a huge implication game for Georgia because you don't know what's going to happen with A&M. You don't know what's going to happen with Bama against Oklahoma. And you don't know what Ole Miss is going to do against Florida. So, if you're a Georgia fan, I think you would cheer for Oklahoma to upset Bama. Or maybe you just cheer for Florida against Ole Miss. But this game is huge. Being played in Athens, Georgia, it is going to be a crowd. I like Georgia in this game. I think Gunnar Stockton is going to get the offense ready against that Texas defense. And again, Kirby Smart's defense is going to pressure Arch Manning. But how are you going to do that? They got to create turnovers, and they got to create some defensive schemes. So give me Georgia by 2. Mississippi State taking on Missouri at 7:45 p.m. Eastern on SEC Network. Missouri is a 5.5 point favorite, and Missouri coming off a tough loss to A&M at home. They welcome Mississippi State, who the cowbells are still ringing for a chance to bowl eligible this season. And you know what? I'm sorry, Mississippi State, but I got Missouri winning it by 3. And then finally, TCU taking on 12th ranked BYU at 10:15 p.m. Eastern on ESPN. BYU is a 4.5 point favorite. BYU in a must-win game to keep their Big 12 hopes alive this season, going up against TCU, who could spoil BYU for their chances. Now, I'm going to go BYU. I just don't think they're going to lose back-to-back games. But if they do lose back-to-back games, they're going to be in a tough position because, yes, you don't know what Cincinnati, You don't know what Houston's going to do, nor Utah. So I think BYU needs this more. Give me BYU by 5. That's it for my college football Week 12 predictions. If you have not seen my other videos, go check them out on my channel. Of course, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell for more sports news.